Yeah, just give me a minute. I'll just open the files. Okay, where are we?
426.
Sorry. 126? No.
426.
Wait. You can trace it out. Okay. 26. Okay. Wait. Let me do it like this. Do it separately. I'm coming close. I just need to spot it in my Devanagari text. Maya Shankar. close. Anena padya yugmena. Got it. Okay. Anena padya yugmena. Vrajaraja sutrasihi tavam bandhana velayam eva vyakta virupata. From these two verses, we see that the son of the king of Vraja displayed this dual nature on the occasion of his being tied by ropes. तथैव च पुराणेषु श्रीमद्भागवतादिषु श्रूयते कृष्णलीलानां नित्यता स्थमेव हि तथा कृष्णस्य. Okay, right. Moreover, we hear unequivocal statements in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas that describe the eternal nature of Krishna's pastimes. I might as well write it here. यथा कृष्णस्य अचिन्त्य शक्तितः द्विरूपतोक्ता तथैव लीला तस्य तथैव नित्योच्यते इत्यर्थः. Just as by Krishna's inconceivable potencies, he has two different features like that. His pastime is stated to be eternal. And then an objection. See, he's got dual nature, means that he can simultaneously be present in one place at the same time be all pervasive. That is the meaning of dual nature. But then but pastimes are activities. And how can an activity be eternal? Someone might reason that the Lord's pastimes are just like any other activities. They can occur only if each action or movement in sequence has a start and a completion. Thus, Krishna's pastimes must come to an end that cannot be eternal. This objection is answered by considering the unique powers of the Supreme Controller. For one thing, he has unlimited forms, as many statements of the scripture attest. Ekopi san bahuda yo vibhati. Although one, he appears to be many. Ekaneka surupaya. His real self is one and many. He also has unlimited associates, as the Chandogya Upanishad states. So, ekadha bhavati vidha, he appears alone and in the company of many. And he lives in countless transcendental abodes. Paramam padam avabhati bhuri, his supreme residence manifests itself in unlimited forms. Considering these points, we must conclude that his activities have no beginning. Each of his pastimes in the association of particular devotees appears in multiple places, and although each lila appears to have a beginning and an end, as it ends in one location, it begins in another. Therefore, there is no cessation of any of his pastimes and no impediment to calling them eternal. One might still object. As it is. Then, another objection. One might still object. We can grant that the pastimes continue without break, but when one of them repeats in another place, that must be considered a different activity. No. We can even find examples of quite ordinary events in this world that repeat but are still the same action. It's not considered another action. For example, someone may shout, "Look, a cow, a cow." He speaks the same word twice, not two different words with the same sound. Similarly, although the Supreme Lord may conclude the exhibition of a pastime in one place and commence it in another, it is still the same ongoing pastime. His forms, pastimes, devotees, and places of visitors each have their own unified persistence. The Purusha Bodhini Upanishad confirms the eternal nature of his pastimes. Eko Devo Nitya Lila Anurakto Bhaktavyapi Bhaktahridyantaratma. There should be no slash here, it's part of the same line. The one Supreme Lord is immersed in his eternal pleasure pastimes. He always stays with his devotees, seated in their hearts as their inner self. यथा च श्री प्रथमे श्री द्वारकावासी वचनम अहो अलम श्लाघ्य तमम यदोकुलम अहो अलम पुण्य तमम मधोर्वनम यद्देश पुंसाम ऋषभ श्रियः प्रियः स्वजन्मना चंक्रमणेन चांचति. For example, the residents of Sri Dwaraka state in the first canto, oh, how supremely glorified is the dynasty of King Yadu, and how virtuous is the land of Mathura, which is the chief of the Purushas, in which the chief of the Purushas, the beloved of the goddess of fortune, is honoring with his birth and his wanderings. Ladies on the roofs of Hastinapur spoke this verse. They can be considered residents of Dwaraka, since they are members of Krishna's eternal Dwaraka entourage. Dwaraka Vasi Vachanam. Residents of Dwaraka say. So there, how can they be considered to be residents of Dwaraka? Hastinavasi Vachanam etat Dwaraka Vasi Vachanatvaina Uktam Tad Vasinam Dwaraka Parikaratva. Because the residents of Hastinapur are considered to be part of the community that resides in Dwaraka. Even after Krishna moved from Mathura to Dwaraka, in the view of mundane eyes, the Hastinapur Vasis continue to see his presence in his original abode. Present tense. Chankramanena anchati. Present tense. He marks this world by his birth and by his wandering. Present tense. They are speaking in present tense. That is because they are continuing to see his presence in his original abode. That pastime is still going on. May not be visible in the current universe, but it is still going on. Both of Krishna's fathers, Nanda and Vasudeva, appeared in Yadu's revered family. The statement that Krishna is the chief of the Purushas, Pumsam Rishabhaha, means that he is the chief of the three Purusha creators, because he is the Amshi, source, from whom they expand. He is the beloved consort of the goddess Lakshmi of Vaikuntha, of Shri Radha of Vrindavan, and of Shri Rukmini of Dwaraka. Shriya Lakshmiya, Shri Radhaya, Shri Rukminiyascha Priyaha Kantaha, Chankramanena Vihare, Anchati. Vartamanatvam Prarabdha Aparisamartatvam. Why is it in present tense? It's in present tense because the pastime that had begun is not concluded. Therefore, they are using that. Anchati iti padam vartam mana kalopapadakam. Dwaraka vasina mukto leelanam vakti nityatam. The word wandering expresses present action. Therefore, this statement of the Dwaraka residents indicates that Krishna's pastimes are eternal. Sri Dashame, Shishupokto, Jayati Janani Vaso Devaki Janmavado, Yaduvara Parishat Swayador Viras Asyana Dharmam. Sthirat Charat Vrijina Nasusmita Shri Mukhena, Vrajapura Vanitanam Vardhayan Kama Devam. In the words of Sri Shuka, in the 10th canto, Lord Sri Krishna, the ultimate resort of all living entities, is also known as Devaki Nandan or Yashoda Nandan, the son of Devaki and Yashoda. He is the guide of the Yadu dynasty. With his mighty arms, he kills everything inauspicious and every impious man. By his presence, he destroys all misfortune for all living entities moving and inert. His blissful, smiling face always increases the lusty desires of the gopis of Vrindavan. May he be all glorious and happy. When Shukadeva Goswami was about to describe to Maharaj Parikshit the pastime of Krishna's disappearance, he first spoke this verse to encourage the king who had no interest in life other than Krishna. See, this happens to be one of the final verses of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Almost. This is because in the next canto, he is going to talk about the Lord's disappearance. If you look at the 9th canto, last chapter, Shukadeva Goswami concludes the 9th canto with 2 verses. The first verse is actually the seed for the 10th canto. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, known as Leela Purushottama, appeared as a son of Vasudeva, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavan to expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavan, the Lord killed many demons, and afterwards he returned to Dwaraka, where, according to Vedic principles, he married many wives who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of householder life. This has been expanded by Shukadeva Goswami into the 10th canto. So towards the end, and you see the verse immediately after that. Thereafter, Lord Shri Krishna created a misunderstanding between family members just to diminish the burden of the world. Simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared victory for Arjuna. Finally, he instructed Uddhava about transcendental life and devotion, and then returned to his abode in his original form. So this is the seed for the 11th canto. So now, by the time Shukadeva Goswami is speaking this current verse, this is 10.90.48. Parikshit already sensed that he is going to wind up this, and now he is going to elaborate on that verse, which will become the 11th canto, which is going to talk about how Krishna disappeared. So, considering that, Shukadeva Goswami wanted to encourage him, and therefore he speaks this verse and says that no, the Supreme Lord exists all the time. His pastimes also, as Krishna Leela, they exist all the time. That Krishna who is glorified by Shukadeva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he was. During his physical pastimes on earth, so he remains today. Shukadeva does not want Parikshit to become confused by the narration of the Maushala Leela. Maushala Leela refers to Krishna's pastime of disappearance. He created a big magic show, like a magic show. People who have only the power of external sight may not see him, but he always enjoys with his devotees in Vraja and his royal cities of Mathura and Dwaraka. He always inspires amorous thoughts in the hearts of the women who love him. He is glorified here as Devaki Janma Vada, known for taking birth as the son of Devaki and as the son of Yashoda. The Adi Purana explains that Dvenamni Nanda Bharyaya Yashoda Devaki Ticha. Nanda's wife has 2 names, Yashoda and Devaki. Devaki also happens to be a name of Nanda's wife. Yashoda also has another name known as Devaki. Vada, known, is used here to indicate the impartial discussions of serious philosophers who want to discover the truth without promoting their own agenda. Even today, the wisest philosophers conclude that Krishna took birth from both Yashoda and Devaki simultaneously. Krishna eternally reciprocates with his associates led by Sri Nanda in Vraja and Sri Vasudeva in the capital city of the Vrishnis. He unceasingly defeats the forces of irreligion through the agency of Sridama and his other friends in Vraja, and through the agency of Satyaki and the other Yadus in Dwaraka, all of whom he considers like his own mighty arms. Krishna's pastimes are described by Shukadeva to Parikshit in the present tense, even though by the time Shukadeva narrated the Bhagavatam, Krishna's manifest form had already gone from this planet for some time. If Krishna's pastimes were not eternal, Shukadeva would not be justified in using the present tense. Shri Skande, Shri Mathura Khande, Shri Yudhishtiram Prati, Shri Naradavakyam, Vatsayar Vatsa Taribhishcha, Sakam Kridati Madhavaha, Vrindavanantaragata, Saramo Balakai Vrata, iti. From the Mathura Khanda of Shri Skanda Purana, a statement by Shri Narada to Shri Yudhishthira. Having entered the Vrindavan forest, surrounded by the cowherd boys, Madhava plays with his calves and young boys in the company of Balaram. Yadanayostu samvado dvaravatyam haristada tathapi vartamanatvenoktis tanmaityavachika. When the two of them were having this conversation, were having this discussion, when the two of them means when Narada and Yudhishthira were having this discussion at this time, Krishna was living in Dwaraka, but Narada uses the present tense. Thus, this statement indicates eternality. It indicates that Krishna's pastimes, Madhava plays with his calves. You see. He has gone. He's surrounded by these boys, along with Rama, which refers to Balaram. From this, we understand that they are talking about present time, at the time they were discussing. Padme Patala Khande Shri Parvatim Prati Shri Rudravakyam Aho Madhupuri Dhanya Yatra Tishtati Kamsaha Tatra Deva Munis Sarve Vasavichanti Sarvada. In the Patala Khanda of the Padma Purana, Shri Rudra says to Shri Parvati, oh, how fortunate is the district of Mathura, where the killer of Kamsa stays. All the demigods and sages would like to live there always. So Madhupuri, Lord Shiva includes not only Mathura city, but the entire district of Mathura. Leela Parikara Goshthan Janasyur Yadavas Tatha Devascha Brahma Jambhari Kuvera Tanayadayaha Naradadyascha Danuja Nagayakshadayascha Te. The cowherds and the Yadavas are associates of the Lord in his pastimes. Other associates include demigods like Brahma, Indra, and the sons of Kuvera, sages like Narada, and others such as demons, Nagas, and Yakshas. Pastimes are not exciting without companions with whom to share them. Therefore, Krishna's eternal Parshadas, who are as intimately connected with him as the limbs of his body, are eternally involved in his Leelas. In his eternal abode, even the demons and others who interact with Krishna are purely spiritual persons, as are Durga and the other demigods of Vaikuntha. As stated earlier, Mayatra Maya, in the spiritual world, there is no illusion created by Maya. It is solely for his pleasure that devotees in Krishna's transcendental abode act in the roles of demigods and demons. Leelaha parikarehi sambandhaha bhavanti ataha tan aha. All of these pastimes have a direct relationship with the various associates of the Lord. And these are all the Lord's associates. Jambhari refers to Indra. Danuja refers to Keshi. Naga refers to Kaliya. Yaksha refers to Shankachuda. Tad prabhritayas, tad parikaras, tad angani ityarthaha. Persons like them are referring to his associates. They are they're parts and parcels of his pastimes. Nityadhamni, Dhanujadaya, Ete, Durgadivat, Aprakrita Bodhya. In the eternal abode, Keshi and others, they have to be understood to be non-material, Aprakrita, spiritual, like Durga. Nayatra Maya iti Pramanyat. Because of the evidence that there is no Maya in the Lord's eternal abode. Tatra Prakritanam Abhava. Because of that, no material entity exists there. Tatra Leelasta Anukarana Rupa Eva. There the pastimes are simply, you can say, imitative. Jambhari is the name of Indra, the enemy of demon Jambha. Prominent among the minor associates of Krishna's pastimes are the demon Keshi, the serpent Kaliya, and the Yaksha Shankhachuda. Prakata Prakata Cheti, Leela Seyam Vidhochyate. Krishna's pastimes are also said to have two forms, manifest and unmanifest. Tathahi Sadananteh Prakashai Swai Leela Bhischa Sadvivyati Tatraikena Prakashena Kadachit Jagadantare Sahaiva Swa Parivarai Janmadi Kurute Harihi. Krishna perpetually enjoys pastimes in unlimited expanded personal forms. At various times, he reveals one or another of these forms within the material world. Accompanied by personal associates, he enacts his birth and other pastimes. Krishna Bhavanusarena Leelakhya Shaktireva Sa Tesham Parikaranam Cha Tam Tam Bhavam Vibhavayet. Following Krishna's moods, his energy named Leela, pastime potency, inspires appropriate moods in the members of his entourage. Why do Brahma and other elevated jivas who are associates of the Supreme Lord sometimes act antagonistically toward him? Because sometimes he wants that. The devotee thinks, if my contrary behavior will help my master enjoy his pastimes, then I will act accordingly. And the Lord's pastime potency makes the necessary arrangements. Prapancha gocharatvena salila prakata smrita anyasto prakata bhanti tadrishyastad dagochara. When his pastimes are visible to materialize, they are considered prakata, manifest. Other similar but unmanifest pastimes occur, invisible to materialize. So we have some pastimes which are broadcast to us. They're live streamed to us. These are known as manifest pastimes. Then we have the Aprakata Leela, the Lord's pastimes which are not manifested. Tatra Prakata Leelayam eva syatam gamagamau Gokule Mathurayam chat Dwaravatyam ch Sharanginaha. Only during the manifest pastimes, however, does Lord Sharangi come and go between Gokula, Mathura, and Dwaraka. In Mathura and Dwaraka, Shri Krishna carries his bow, Sharanga, commonly known as Lord Vishnu's bow. Thus he is thus called, there he is thus called Sharangi. In Gokula, however, Krishna carries a buffalo horn for calling his cows, because such a horn is called the Shringa. There also Krishna is called Sharangi, carrier of his Shringa. Venu Shringa Dharastuva. Krishna's flute and buffalo horn are always with him in Gokula Vrindavan. Yas tatra tatra prakatas tatra tatraiva santita ityaha jayati ityadi padya adhikam abhikshnashaha. His unmanifest pastimes certainly occur continuously in each of their respective locations. Thus, we regularly hear statements like the words beginning Jayati Janani Vasa. Even when the annihilation of the material universe occurs, Krishna's Aprakata Leela continue uninterrupted. His pastimes are not finished just because they are invincible. A peacock hiding in the forest does not cease to exist when no one sees it. Devajamshavat Tarane Pravritte Padmajanjaya Vasudevadikanam Ye Swargimsha Kashyapa Nitya Lilantarasthaiste Vasudevadibhirgata Sayujam Mamshibhis Tatra Jayante Shuramukhyataha, when on the order of lotus-born Brahma, the demigods and others take birth on the earth as partial expansions. Kashyapa, who is an expansion of Vasudeva, along with other similar expansions residing in heaven, join with their originals who eternally take part in Krishna's pastimes. To accomplish this, they take birth from Shurasena and others. This is how Krishna arranges to make visible his pastimes with his eternal devotees. When the time came for Krishna to descend to the earth to relieve her burden, Lord Brahma ordered the demigods to join Krishna. Giram samadho gagane samiritam nishamya vedhas tridashan vachaha gapaurushi me shruta punar vidhiyatam tathaiva machiram puraiva pumsa vadhrito dhara jwaro bhavadbhiram shair yadushu pajanyatam sayavadurvya bharamishwareshwarah swakala shaktya kshapayam charet bhuvi. While in trance, Lord Brahma heard the words of Lord Vishnu vibrating in the sky. Thus he told the demigods, "O demigods, hear from me the order of Kshirodabhishayi Vishnu, the Supreme Person, and execute it attentively without delay. Before we submitted our petition to the Lord, he was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by his own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. Some expansions of Krishna's eternal associates reside in heaven. Responding to Brahma's order, these expansions, such as Vasudev's Amsha Kashyapa and Nanda Maharaj's Amsha Drona, merged back into the originals from whom they expanded and took birth from fathers on the earth like Shurasan and Parjanya Gopa. In the Padma Purana, Sri Krishna tells his wife Satyabhama, Atam Brahmadi Devanam Tatha Prathanaya Bhuvaha Agatoham Ganas Sarve Jatas Tevi Maya Saha Etehi Yadavas Sarve Madgana Eva Bhamini Sarvada Mat Priya Devi Matulya Ganashalinaha Matulya Gunashalinaha. Entreated by Mother Earth and the demigods led by Brahma, I have come here with all the members of my entourage who have also taken birth. Thus, O Radiant One, all these Yadavas are my personal associates. They are always very dear to me, my dear goddess, and their virtues are equal to mine. Also in the Padma Purana, Sri Vyasadeva tells Ambarish Maharaj, Pashyatvam darshayishyami swarupam veda gopitam tato pashyam maham rupa balam kalam buddha prabham gopakanya vritam gopam hasantam gopa balakai. The Lord told me, watch and I will show you my true form, which the Vedas keep secret. I then saw a boy, O king, whose luster was like that of a black lotus flower. He was a cowherd boy, surrounded by cowherd maidens and joking with other cowherd boys. In this vision, Vyasadeva saw the original personality of Godhead in the company of the young cowherds. Certainly, Nanda Maharaj and the other elder cowherds were not far away. So they're all there. They're all part of the Lord's entourage. All of them simply become visible to the residents of this world in particular places at particular times. Evam pitradishu avatirneshu Krishnasya avataramaha yad vilasayati. So in this way, he incarnates along with his fathers and so on. Yad vilaso mahashrisha Salila Purushottamaha Avir Bhushuratra Vish Kritya Sankarshanam Puraha Antastita Vish Kartavya Tadanya Vyuha Ishvaraha Tadaye Prakatastasya Bhavatya Nakadundubhe. The Lord of the Supreme Goddess of Fortune is a partial expansion of this playful Supreme Personality of Godhead. Desiring to make his appearance in this world, he arranges for Sankarshan to appear first. Then, carrying within himself his other two Vyuha expansions, who will also participate in his pastimes. The Supreme Lord reveals himself in Vasudeva's heart. See, he's got 4 primary expansions. Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Once Krishna's parents and other elders have come to earth in Gokula and Mathura, Krishna also comes. So first he sends his parents. Krishna is Leela Purushottama, the playful Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Narayana of Vaikuntha is one of his Vilasa expansions. Vasudeva is his first Vyuha expansion. The second, Sankarshana, appears as his older brother Balaram. The other 2, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, they are within him. But then, when it is time, then they appear as his son and grandson respectively. Sukadeva Goswami describes Krishna's appearing in Vasudeva's heart. Bhagavan api Vishwatma bhaktanam abhayankara aviveshamsha bhagyena mana anaka duddubhe sabibhrat paurusham dhamam vrajamano yatha ravihi durasatoti durdharsho bhutanam sambhakuvaha. Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of all living entities, who vanquishes all fear for his devotees, entered the mind of Vasudeva in full opulence, while carrying the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart. Vasudeva bore the Lord's transcendently illuminating effulgence, and thus he looked as bright as the sun. He was therefore very difficult to see or approach for all living entities, even for such formidable men as Kamsa. So the Supreme Lord has now manifested himself in the heart of Vasudeva. Bhumi bhara nira sayam devanam abhiyatnyaya dvaparasya avasanesmin ashtavimshe chaturyuge Shirabhishali yadrupam aniruddha taya smritam taddidam hridayasthena rupena nakadurubhe aikyam prapya tato gachet prakatyam devaki hridi. To relieve the earth of her burden and to respond to the entreaty of the demigods, Krishna appeared at the end of the Dwapara age. In this 28th cycle of 4 yugas, the form of the Lord, who manifests on the milk ocean known as Aniruddha, merged with the form of Krishna in Vasudeva's heart. They then transferred themselves to Devaki's heart to become manifest there. How is it that Vraja Krishna exhibited pastimes of Kshiravishai Vishnu? It was possible because that Purusha had united with him. The original Aniruddha appeared as Pradyumna's son, but before he appeared as his son, his expansion, the third Purusha, resided in Krishna's body. The Matsya Purana specifies the time of Krishna's descent. Asmad Rathantarat Kalpa Vayovimshatimo Yada Varaho Bhuvita Kalpas Tasmin Manvantare Shubhe Vaivasvata Kyesamprapte Saptame Saptaloka Dhrik Dwaparakyam Yugantasmin Ashtavimshati Mam Yada Tasyante Cha Mahalilo Vasudevo Janardanaha Bharavataranaarthaya Tritha Vishnu Bhavishyati Dvaipayano Munistatva Draupiniyotha Kelinabaha. After the current Rathantara Kalpa ends, the 23rd day of Brahma, the Varaha Kalpa will begin. During that Kalpa, at the end of the 28th Dwapara age of the auspicious 7th Manvantara, called Vaivasvata, the maintainer of the 7 worlds, Lord Vasudeva Janardana, the performer of wonderful pastimes, will appear in 3 forms to relieve the earth of her burden. As the sage Dvaipayana Vyasa, as Balaram the son of Rohini, and as Keshava. So Vyasadeva appeared, Balaram appeared, and then Keshava, Krishna appeared. Srila Shukadeva also describes Krishna's transfer from Vasudeva's heart to Devaki's, taking with him his Vyuha, Kshiravishai Vishnu, and the other Amshas. Tato Jagan Mangalam Achutam Sham Samahitam Shura Sutena Devi Dathara Sarvatmakam Atmabhutam Kashthayatananda Karam Manastata. Kashthayatananda Karam Manastah. Thereafter, accompanied by his plenary expansions, the fully opulent Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious for the entire universe, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devi. Devaki, having thus been initiated by Vasudeva, became beautiful by carrying Lord Krishna, the original consciousness for everyone, the cause of all causes, within the core of her heart, just as the east becomes beautiful by carrying the rising moon. This verse describes Devaki carrying Krishna in her mind, but we should understand that Krishna also entered her womb. The demigods affirmed this by saying to Devaki, Dishtyambate Kukshigatah Parahuan, O mother, by good fortune, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is now within your womb. Premanandamritaistasya vatsalyaika swarupibhihi lalyamano haristatra vardhate chandrama iva. Nurtured by the nectar of Devaki's ecstatic love, which consists exclusively of parental affection, Lord Hari grew in her heart like the waxing moon. Atha bhadra padashtamya asittaya mahanishi tasya hridastiro bhuya karayam suti sadmani devaki shayane tatra krishna pradur bhavatyasau. Then in the middle of the night on the 8th day of the waning moon in the month of Bhadrapada, Krishna disappeared from Devaki's heart and showed himself on her bed in the birthing room of the prison. Janayatri pravritis abhirvityavagamyate laukikena prakarena sukham shishya ajayata. Krishna's mother and the others believed that her child had taken birth in the ordinary manner and that his birth had been an easy one. Ayam chaturbhujatvepi dvibhujatvepi krishnatam na tyajatyeva tadbhava guna rupatavrittitaha. Krishna remains the same person, whether he shows 4 arms or 2, according to his various moods, qualities, and appearances. With the following statement, Sri Vishnu Purana indicates that the 2-armed human form of Krishna is the original Supreme. Yadorvam sham narah shrutva sarva papa pramunchyate yatravatirana krishnakyam param brahman narakriti. Any human being who hears about the Yadu dynasty becomes liberated from all past sins. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, known by the name Krishna, descended in his human form as a member of that family. Why then does Sri Shukadev describe the Krishna who took birth from Devaki as Chaturbhujam Shankhan Gadadyudayudham, 4-armed, holding conch, club, and other weapons? Is there some contradiction here? No. As explained in the verse under discussion, the same Krishna exhibits either 2 or 4 arms on various occasions. He has only 2 arms, but he acts like an ordinary human, showing innocence despite his omniscience, and showing those capacities that suit his mood. For instance, when the Lord had a playful quarrel with Rukmini Devi, and this comes in Krishna book, 10th canto, and Rukmini Devi fainted, and the Lord, she was fanning Krishna. So then the Lord, he picked her up with 2 arms. With another 2 arms, he wiped her tears off. So in that way, sometimes he manifests 4 arms, sometimes not. Tathapi dvibhujat krishni pradhanyam uchyate gudhatvad evacha vapi gaunatvam iva kirtiyate gudham param brahmam manushyalingam nitiha pratha. Still, it is said that Krishna originally has 2 arms. His 2-arm form sometimes may be described as secondary, but that is to keep it confidential. He is the absolute truth, disguised in a human form. The most sublime secret of the revealed scriptures is that God in his fullest glory acts and appears like an ordinary person, and therefore that Krishna's 2-arm form is primary. To keep this confidential, the scriptures sometimes describe his human-like appearance as secondary. To make clear that Krishna in human form is indeed the original Godhead, Narada twice spoke the same words cited in this verse to Yudhishthira. Yuyam nrloke vatabhuri bhaga lokam punana mayo bhriyanti yesham grihana vasatiti sakshan gudham param brahma manashya lingam. Twice it appears. You Pandavas are so very fortunate in this world that many great saints who can purify all the planets in the universe come to your house, just like ordinary visitors. After all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is living confidentially in your home with you, appearing like a human being. Asal Rajeshwari Dehi, Vishananaka Dundubhi, Tatranyasya Sutam Tasya Sutam Adaya Nissare. Vasudeva then went to the house of the Queen of Braja. He entrusted his son to her, picked up her daughter and left. Soyam Nitya Sutatvena Tasya Rajatyana Krishna Prakatalilayam Tadvarenapya Bhuttatha. The same Krishna is Yashoda's son eternally, and thus in his visible pastimes, he also took birth from her. Read it clearly. And thus in his visible pastimes, he also took birth from her, from Yashoda. The Puranas call Krishna the son to indicate literal birth from both Devaki and Yashoda. Even accepting this as part of his sequential visible pastimes, one may still question whether he acts as a son in his eternal invisible pastimes. The answer is that Krishna eternally acts as a son of both Devaki and Yashoda. The word api in this verse indicates that he accepts both mothers also in his visible pastimes, and tatha indicates that he accepts them in the same way, indicating birth through the ordinary process as known in the material world. He was born to both. Another doubt might be raised. In Krishna's Aprakata Leela, he and both pairs of his parents exist eternally. How then do they enter into relationships as mother, father, and son, which seem dependent on temporal differences of older and younger? The mother has to be older than the son. The father has to be older than the son. Now, how can they be older than him in the Nitya Leela, eternal pastimes? We resolve this doubt by understanding that Krishna accepts particular moods and relationships according to the various attitudes of his devotees. In the words of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Bhavagrahyam Manidakhyam is perceived according to one's affection for him. It depends on no material support. It is just an attitude. If you are very interested in understanding about the attitudes of the Lord and his associates, then it will be good if you can read this book. Particularly, there's one very long purport here to this verse, where Siddhanta Saraswati explains in great detail that in the spiritual world, the Lord's associates have particular attitudes that correspond to Krishna's particular attitudes towards them. For instance, in Vaikuntha, Lakshmi Devi is the wife of Lord Narayana. But was there ever a time when she was not married to him? But he is eternally married to him. He eternally considers her his wife. She eternally considers him her husband. His attitude, which is mutually accepted by each other. So here also, between Krishna's parents and him, it is the attitude that counts. Devaki and Vasudeva always consider themselves to be the parents of Krishna in the spiritual world. Similarly, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they always consider themselves to be Krishna's parents in the spiritual world. Goloka Vrindavan. When Krishna appears here in this world, in order to make the conditioned souls relate to it, he presents the pastime of taking birth from them. Similarly, Krishna marries Rukmini Devi. Even though Rukmini Devi in the spiritual world of Dwaraka is eternally his wife, but it becomes somewhat comprehensible to the conditioned souls when the Lord actually marries Rukmini Devi. And from within their range of perception, he has now become her husband. Attitude. Devaki's maternal love is not exactly the same as Yashoda's. Yashoda is not concerned whether or not Krishna is God. Her surrender as his mother has no conditions or inhibitions due to respect for his godhood. Thus, her love is described as purer than Devaki's. Still, Krishna accepts both of them as his mothers. When a lotus flower grows, it produces many petals simultaneously. Some of them may grow larger and more beautiful than others, but all of them belong to the lotus flower. Sri Shukadev thus described Krishna in his Prakat Leela as taking birth from both Devaki and Yashoda. He mentions Krishna's birth from Devaki explicitly and his birth from Yashoda implicitly. It was the Lord's desire that Shukadev present his narration like this. In his description of Krishna's birth, Shukadev says, Nishithe tama udbhute jayamane janardhane devakyam devarupanyam vishnu sarvadbhashayaha avirasi yatha prachyam vishindur pushkalaha. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. A little later he says, Yashoda Nandapatnicha Jatam Paramabudhyata Natal Parishranta Nidraya Padgata Smriti. Exhausted by the labor of childbirth, Yashoda was overwhelmed with sleep. She understood that the child had taken birth, but didn't know whether it was a boy or a girl. The first of these two statements can be understood as follows. The word Devakyam connects with both the phrase that precedes it and the one that follows it. Sitting in the middle of the two phrases, like a lamp sitting on a patio between two rooms, it shines on both. Dekhali Pradipa. Nyaya. The first phrase contains the participle Jayamani, being born, which goes with Devakyam meaning from Yashoda. Lord Janardhan Krishna was being born from Yashoda in the dense darkness of midnight on the 8th day in the dark half of Bhadrapada. The second phrase has its own corresponding verb, Avirasit. He appeared. This indicates that Krishna appeared in two simultaneous births. So while he was taking birth, he appeared. Now, what can that mean? While he was taking birth, while he was being born, he appeared. Simultaneous action. This indicates that Krishna appeared in two simultaneous births. The second phrase tells us then that Lord Vishnu, the same Krishna, appeared at the same time from Devaki, the daughter of King Devaka. If this is not clear enough, please consider the words spoken in Sri Harivamsha. Garbhakale twasampurne ashtame masite striyau Devaki cha Yashoda cha sushuvate samam tada. In the 8 months before the completion of the normal term of pregnancy, both women, Devaki and Yashoda, gave birth at the same time. Since the daughter Yogamaya was born a little later, this must refer to the simultaneous birth of the same male son. Both were born in the 8th month at the time when the pregnancy was incomplete. Samam at the same time. So you cannot say the next time when Devaki was pregnant and in the 8th month of her pregnancy she gave birth. No, Samam at the same time. Srila Shukadev helps us understand this in his account. Tatascha shaurir bhagavat prachodita sutam samadaya sasutika griha yada bahirgantum niyesha tarkya ya yogama ya janinanda jaya. Thereafter, exactly when Vasudeva, being inspired by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to take the newborn child from the delivery womb, Yogamaya, the Lord's spiritual energy, took birth as the daughter of the wife of Maharaj Nanda. So look at this clearly. When was Yogamaya born? At the time Vasudeva being inspired by the Supreme Lord, when he was instructed by the Supreme Lord, when he was about to take the child from the delivery room, at that time Yogamaya was born. He was not born at the same time. He was born a little later. From this verse, Yogamaya is known as Krishna's younger sister. Neither Vasudeva nor Yashoda, however, noticed that the boy and girl took birth a few hours apart. Devaki and Yashoda are both Devarupini, qualitatively one with the personality of Godhead. Shri Krishna's supreme purity was therefore in no way out of place when he resided in their wombs. The king appears even more regal when sitting in a gem-bedecked palace, refreshed by fragrant breezes. Indeed, Srila Shukadeva says that Krishna appeared Pushkala in his full glory. In Shukadeva's statement about Yashoda's being fatigued after giving birth, he directly says that she recognized the signs of the Godhead in her newborn child and understood that the Supreme Lord had taken birth from her. Why was she unaware that she had given birth to a second child, a girl, and that Vasudeva had taken the girl away? Because her fatigue prevented her from seeing the signs, her lingam. Lingam means sign or deduction. Narada Muni declares openly in the Adi Purana. Now, all of these argumentation is not simply coming from Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan. They were discovered and presented in some good detail by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Narada Muni declares openly in the Adi Purana that Krishna also took birth from Yashoda. Nanda Gopa Grihe Putro Yashoda Garbha Sambhavaha. This son took birth from the womb of Yashoda in the house of Nanda Gopa. One should not think that these ideas were not taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya has also indicated this. Ayi Nanda Tanuja, Tanuja. O Lord, was born from the body of Nanda. Krishna is born to Nanda Maharaj also. He's not just born to Vasudeva, he's also born to Nanda Maharaj. With this in mind, we can take literally Srimad Bhagavatam's references to Krishna as the son of Nanda and Yashoda. Nandas Twatmacha Utpanne Jata Hlado Mahamana Ahuyal Pran Veda Gyan Snata Shuchir Alankrita. Nanda Maharaj was naturally very magnanimous. And when Lord Shri Krishna appeared as his son, he was overwhelmed by jubilation. Therefore, after bathing and purifying himself and dressing himself properly, he invited Brahmanas who knew how to recite Vedic mantras. Nayam Sukhapo Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutaha Jnaninam Shatva Bhutanam Yatha Bhakti Matamiha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of the Gopi Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the sun. When Kamsa rushed into the prison cell intending to kill Devaki's 8th child, Devaki pretended that her 8th child was a girl, Yogamaya, although she knew very well that Krishna was her 8th child. Srila Shukadeva should not be faulted when he supports this intentional deception meant to protect Krishna by speaking the words Upabhus Hyatmajam, embracing her daughter. Why then does Srila Rupa only suggest that Krishna also took birth from Yashoda? Because the author's worshipable Lord Krishna wants this. Krishna desires, I appear in the homes of both Nanda and Vasudeva, but remain visible in only one of these forms, living with Nanda. If both forms remain, Kamsa will take note and create distress for my parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. Therefore, O reciter of my pastimes, please do not divulge this secret when you sing your narration. Srila Rupa nonetheless provides a hint in this text of Laghu Bhagavatamrita by using the word api, also to indicate that Krishna took birth from Yashoda as well. So that has been well established by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and then later by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan. Just give me a minute, let me just- Hmm. All right. Questions? Please, if you want to leave, you can leave. Chaitanya Hari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Okay, I have a question regarding this Krishna. I mean, he said that in, I think, text 120 something, that says that both of them, Vasudev and Nanda Maharaj, are from Yadu dynasty. And then in the text 430 something, is described how Vasudev and Drona was become one in the heaven, and then they take birth as two different persons, right?
No, not like that. It's just that when Vasudeva is taking birth, at that time Drona merges into him.
Okay, but then how they become together as a Yadu dynasty? Is it from the same person?
When Vasudeva is born, Drona enters into his body.
Okay. So but then how become Nanda Maharaj?
No, I'm sorry. Drona is merges into Nanda, and Kashyapa merges into Vasudeva.
Yeah, Kashyapa, yes. Okay, Drona enter into Nanda Maharaj.
Yeah, Drona and Dhara, they merge into Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. And here, Kashyapa and Aditi, they merge into Vasudeva and Devaki.
Okay. Other than that, there's no other direct connection between Vasudev and Nanda Maharaj, only in the expansion level.
So they're actually
considered as Yadu.
They're also genealogically connected. Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva are also genealogically connected. They have a common ancestor also. There is a genealogical connection also.
They're connected?
Yeah. One minute, let me place it up.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Just give me a minute. Let me just trace this out. There is a genealogical relationship between Nanda Maharaj and so it is. Nobody brings it up. Yeah, there is some relationship. See, it's like this. I didn't go into this detail, but there is a relationship. They have a common ancestor. There is something. Well, the Lord simultaneously was born to Yashoda and Devaki. That's all. Prem Gosundatu.
Hare Krishna Dandavad. Prabhuji, in one of the, I don't remember which text number, it is also mentioned about unmanifest pastime. So my question is that if some pastimes are manifest, how does anybody know about them at all? If they are unmanifest, nobody should know about them.
They are unmanifest to conditioned souls.
Oh, okay.
If the Lord had two forms, then did Vasudeva Krishna merge with did Vasudeva Krishna merge with Nandanandana Krishna? Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. Not this. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur discusses that Krishna appeared simultaneously as the son of Devaki and as the son of Yashoda, along with the spiritual energy Yogamaya. As the son of Devaki, he first appeared as Vishnu, and because Vasudeva was not in the position of pure affection for Krishna, Vasudeva worshipped his son as Lord Vishnu. Yashoda, however, pleased her son Krishna without understanding his godhood. This is the difference between Krishna as the son of Yashoda and as the son of Devaki. This is explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti on the authority of the Harivamsha. So he merges. Okay, anything else? Okay, if you have further questions, you can ask now, otherwise you can bring it up in the Telegram group. All right. Vanshkalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.